Hello, my name is Carlos Domingo, and I'm the CEO of Telefonica R&D. Telefonica R&D is the innovation and R&D company of the Telefonica Group. And I'm here to tell you a little bit about what's our strategy and our view about the future of communication services, and in particular the role that a company called Jaja that we acquired in 2009 plays within it. So communications have been evolving through the last 20 years at a very rapid pace. There's a couple of things that are interesting. The first one is that if you look at the amount of minutes that people spend communicating through digital means, this has been increasing widely throughout the last 20 years. On the other hand, if you look at what is the share of those communications minutes that belongs to traditional telecommunication services like fixed line and mobile, or text messages versus new ones that came up throughout the last 10 years, like email, instant messaging, and especially the last few years social networks, then this has been changing radically. We used to have 80% of our time through fixed line communications in the 90s, and in year 2000 mobile was taking the majority of the communications and internet was emerging, and then the last 2-3 years the situation has reversed, and even though the amount of minutes we spend in mobile has been maintained over the last 10 years, the amount of minutes we spend in social networks, instant messaging, email, etc., has been exceeding widely the amount of minutes we spend there. So a couple of years ago, this got us thinking about what should we do as a company, and one of the things we noticed is that there hasn't been much innovation around voice or texting, but there has been a lot of innovation on internet communication services, and this was perhaps one of the reasons why other people started preferring using those communication services rather than our communication services. So we thought, what do we need to do to get into that market and innovate and start adding value to our traditional communication services? And one of the things that the first thing that comes to mind is if you can manipulate in an easier way voice and texting and phone numbers, etc., then you'll be able to innovate at a much rapid pace than we have been doing it with the traditional, standard-driven telco approach. So we started looking at commercial solutions that we could do that, and came across a company called Jaja. It's originally an Israeli company that had all their R&D in Israel, but had developed all the commercial structure in the US, and that had basically an IP-based global communication platform that we thought that will allow us to actually do a lot of innovation on top of communications faster than doing it through our traditional network elements. So Jaja is not what most people think of VoIP in terms of a VoIP client in a mobile phone, a smartphone, or in a PC that makes a full IP call back into another VoIP client, either in a smartphone or a PC, but it basically allows you to do circuit-based calls. So these are calls that can be made from any fixed phone or mobile phone. It doesn't necessarily have to be a smartphone, or it doesn't have to have a data rate attached to it, a data plan. And then it actually captures the phone call in the back end and turns it into VoIP, and then reroutes it and manipulates it, and then puts it back into another circuit call, which basically give us a lot of the advantages of VoIP without the disadvantages of working only in certain devices, necessarily having a data connection, etc., and it gives us more universality for the services. So we've started looking at them. My team in Telefonica R&D was in charge of doing the due diligence together with people from O2 UK, and then eventually in 2009, mid-2009, we completed the acquisition, and Jaja became part of the Telefonica family. So since then, what we've done is try to keep Jaja as a separate company, so we preserve their innovation spirit and the team, but at the same time, have ties back into Telefonica, so we can leverage and we can benefit from what Jaja is doing, from their IP voice platform and from their innovation and engineering capabilities. And the way it has worked more or less is I'm part of the board of Jaja. I have one person from my team that did the due diligence, that actually moved and became part of the Jaja team in Israel, the engineering team. And then we had some engineers that spent a few months, and that helped us to understand better their culture, their platforms, and it helped them also to establish some ties back into the Telefonica R&D team. And since then we're collaborating a lot, to the point that now we've established a joint R&D lab together with O2 UK, based in Slough, where O2 is headquartered. So what kind of projects we're doing with Jaja? We're running a number of projects. So basically, there's one clear thing is that Jaja and Jaja's engineers are in charge of the backend platform, because that's what they originally developed, and they have the expertise, and it makes all the sense that they concentrate and continue evolving and developing that. And one of the things they're doing now is opening up more APIs and making it easier for other engineering teams to develop on top of it. And then my team is more focused on bringing in new services on top of the platform, developing, for instance, we've developed the iPhone apps and the Android apps that Jaja has, and we're more focused on the services side while they're more focused on the platform side. We're also looking at ways where we can integrate the Jaja platform back with our traditional, if you want, network platforms. So in some cases we can benefit from additional functionality that Jaja, being more of a over-the-top IP player, if you want, then wouldn't be able to do it. Specific examples that we've done is we've done projects in the UK or in Germany to issue international numbers for calling your friends that are living abroad at the local rates. We've also done projects for issuing virtual numbers, for instance, in Spain, where you can issue a new number that is temporary. If you want to do, let's say, sell something on eBay, then you will put a new phone number there that will reroute the calls to your original number. And then once the sale has been done, you can cancel that number, so you don't have to disclose your original number. Jaja was doing those things with dating sites as well. And also more innovative things in terms of how we merge voice with web-based communication. So for instance, we originally released through Jaja a product called Facebook Calling, where you could actually, through the Facebook chat in a smartphone, you could establish a phone call back into a friend that is on the web accessing Facebook. Then once this has been tested with the Jaja brand, through the Jaja website, and we've seen how customers react to it and evolve and refine a little bit the value proposition, then we are now releasing that to UK with the O2 brand, and we're planning on rolling out this into other operators. So basically, what's working very well with Jaja is that we can use them as a kind of a playground to try new innovative things, see how it works, and then release it into our other OPs, which are larger operations and that usually more conservative in terms of deciding what kind of services are going to release to the customers or not. So in summary, I think this has been a really good acquisition. It has given us a technology asset, a really good engineering team, a place where we can innovate a lot faster than we could do traditionally through our own OBs, and that also the fact that from Telefonica R&D, from the beginning, we've been engaged with them from the due diligence till now, working in projects, myself sitting on the board and some of my team being frequently in Israel. I think that has worked quite well in terms of leveraging the acquisition without necessarily killing a small company, bringing it into a very large company like Telefonica is.